Hi guys, and welcome back to Wardle Restorations, and you join me on an extremely sunny day down here at the Colne Valley Railway. Now the last couple of days we have had some quite severe weather. I'm not sure what it's like for you guys across the rest of the country and the rest of the world, but over the weekend the storm was so bad we actually had a tree fall over on the line, and the remnants of that is now left on a P-way trolley. But again, in today's video we're going to be continuing with the tank wagon. Now the feedback on the last video was absolutely fantastic, so I can't thank you guys enough for watching and commenting. There was even a thing on the YouTube Studios thing as well about the increasing comments from new people is helping push the video. So if you do fancy leaving a comment, it really does help push the video. So today I'm going to be looking at getting a couple more sections done on the top bit of the tank wagon. Now I'm not sure if you can tell from this shot, but we've actually moved to a slightly different location. So what I'll do is I will roll the intros and then I'll show you guys the tank moving into here with the use of the steam loco on a slightly less sunny day, and then we will get on with today's work. Now the time is just after 9:30 in the morning, so I'm going to see how much I can get done, and while the weather's like this I've got to really make the most of it. As you'll see from a couple of shots here, the shine on the first section, even though it's only had one top coat and still needs a couple more, is really nice, and it's a vast improvement on what it was before. But as always guys, if you do enjoy this content, please do hit the thumbs up, and as I said earlier, please do leave a comment. Any feedback is always welcome, and yeah, let's jump into the video. Bit of sun in my eyes here, but as you can see, I've dragged the compressor out to the tank wagon, and we've got it here ready to go. I've got the needle gun attached to it. Now this thing really does make mincemeat of a lot of the flaky rust and things on here, so that should be really helpful. I then also went and treated myself to a wire wheel as recommended on one of the Facebook posts, and again this, when doing some of the section before it started raining the last time I was down here, made it look effortless getting through some of that rust. So I've got that, as well as mask and ear defenders and all the other related safety stuff. So what we'll do is we'll jump up the scaffolding there and take a look at what we're going to be getting up to. So hopefully you guys can see him up here. It is a little bit sunny, so I do apologise for that if the picture's not too great, but I just wanted to talk about what we're going to be getting on with today. Now as you can see, here's the paintwork we did last time, and there's still a few little bits of green primer coming through, and that's because we haven't done a couple more coats of the black top coat, but it is also covered in a little bit of the rust residue from where I've started cleaning this up with the wire brush. and I've also started on this section as well. Now I would like to ideally do as much as I can up to the ladder today. I think that'd be a reasonably large section to do in one day. There's a few little bits of paint to remove, but this side has predominantly been removed by over the time and the sun drying it out and things like that, and all the paint becoming quite flaky. But yeah, I am hoping to get a rather large section of this done, and then hopefully if I can get that primed and painted, it then means I can then get another top coat on this as well, which means this would have then had 2 coats of black and the other ones would have had 1, and then as I go along I can come back and keep doing the layers over the top. But yeah, we're going to see how we're going to get on today. It's going to be a few time lapses and a bit of music, so hopefully you guys don't mind that kind of stuff, and I will jump back in once I've made some more progress. So what we're going to do now is grab the needle gun and the wire brush, and we're going to carry on cleaning up this next section. But just quickly before that, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to the Bluebell Railway Goods Division. Now I popped down there a couple of weekends ago because I put a post on Facebook asking if anyone had any instanters, and after looking on eBay and someone's trying to sell a pair for £110 each or something ridiculous like that, I got a message from the Bluebell guys who very kindly offered me a couple of really nice quality instanters. So huge thank you to those guys, and I think we are at some point going to do another trip down there to do a video about the work they do and the fantastic projects they're working on. But I haven't actually put them on yet, just because obviously I want to clean this whole area up and paint it, and it's not going into service anytime soon, so no point putting them on just to have to take them back off again. But yeah, let's jump back into the video. So as you've just seen in those first couple of time lapses, I actually just started with the needle gun. Now that needle gun is absolute, I honestly cannot recommend it enough. That thing absolutely melted through the paintwork that I needed to remove. The only issue is that it requires the sort of 100 psi, I think around that, the whole time, and I've only got a small compressor, so after a while it started to become less effective, so I just had to leave it a little bit while the compressor charged back up, and I was able to use it again, and that absolutely made its way easily through, and we've made it up to roughly just the other side of this ladder. Now that's where the next thought comes in. Now with this ladder, I've got 2 options. I either cut all these rusty bolts off, take it off, do it properly, take it away to my little workshop, and I can work on it in the dry. Say if it rains, I can work on something inside, and means I've also got better access to all of this and to the next section that I'm going to try and get on with today. Or I leave it on, use the needle gun and angle grinder and just try and work my way around the ladder. And I think you'll agree the obvious option here, realistically, is to remove the ladder. So what I'm going to do now is get these bolts cut off, get the 2 cut off at the top, slide the scaffolding along and work my way along the next top section. I'm thinking, fingers crossed, as the weather stays like this, we might actually be able to work our way up to the next section as well, which means today we'll actually have sort of 1 small section and 1 large section done. But yeah, all depends on time and weather. So let's see if we can get this ladder off and then, yeah, work our way along a bit more. So I've got to take a pause here in the video now. You obviously won't make any difference for you guys, but it is starting to spit, which is obviously one of the main problems with working on these things outside. But as you might be able to see from these shots coming up here, I've actually managed to get 1 big panel and 1 slightly smaller panel, I'm calling the sort of section of the top half of the tank, cleaned up, as well as the bit that the overhead electric warning lightning bolt sits on. That's all cleaned up as well. I didn't capture it on video, but I did manage to get the ladder down. It was held on by 2 bolts either side at the bottom, then 1 either side at the top, but they were completely seized, so I just angle grinded them off and I'll replace them with some nice new ones. I've taken it over to my workshop so I can clean it up and paint it inside, and that way if it starts raining like it is now, or it's about to by the look of the clouds, I think it means I can work on it inside and then eventually reinstall it once I've done the bottom half underneath where the ladder goes. So I have wiped the surface down with a cloth, and I also used an air gun attachment on the compressor to blow off as much of the rubbish as possible, giving me a nice surface to paint the primer on. And obviously, dependent on the weather, I'll give it a few minutes now. You might see a time lapse from today of me starting to put the primer on. If not, it'll be at some point in the future. But yeah, let's see what the weather does, and I'll either join you in my time in a second or in maybe a few days. Right, so we've moved on a few days now, and I'm not entirely sure how well those last time lapses came out, because the issue is I'm filming on a rather high curved surface, so it's very difficult to actually get any cameras to it without having a drone hovering over my head constantly or something to get all the time lapses and stuff from around the top half. But I'm hoping when we come to doing the bottom bit, obviously I can set tripods up and stuff down here a bit easier, and I should be able to get some better footage. So we've moved on, as I say, a couple of days. Since then I've had a haircut, in case you're wondering where all my hair has gone. And what my plan is to do today, you would have seen from those time lapses, if they did come out all right, that we've got another two, well, a large section and the smaller section with the undercoat. Now what I'd like to do is get the last two sections done of the top half, then get that primed, and then while that's drying, to be super time efficient, I'll then start coming down here and needle gunning the first bottom section. So in regards to the livery, you'll see the star behind me. This star isn't staying. There's one on the other end as well, which is actually going to be moved further along. I will put a picture up now on the screen of the livery we're going for. It's going to be the last livery it carried before it entered preservation. And to the left of the star over here, we're going to have the 1855 with all the various details of the writing. I'm not entirely sure what the writing underneath it says, but if you guys have seen or got any pictures of similar tanks and know what the bit about the Esso tank is underneath the number and the logos and things, hopefully one of you guys can work out what it is and put it in the comment section down below, and then I can have that sign written underneath there. We'll then have two larger Esso logos on each end, well, on the side here, but at each end, and then the 1855 on the actual ends of the tanks themselves. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do the logos. That is going to be a really difficult task, so I'm hoping. I've just dropped a message to the Great Central Railway guys, who hopefully might be able to point me in the right direction. But yeah, what we're going to do now, as I say, get the next two sections needle gunned and primed, and while that's drying, I'll come and needle gun this, and then I'll prime this, and while this is drying, I can then start applying a top coat of black, well, one of the first top coats of black at that end, make my way along to where we've done already, and then hopefully by the time I get here, the undercoat's dried and I can paint that. But this is all assuming I can get this all done, and also assuming it doesn't rain. So what we'll do now is jump into some more, hopefully easier to see, time lapses. So a couple of issues that have arisen since working on these two sections. The first off being a small hole underneath, just to the edge of one of these, I guess you call it bands or straps that run around the tank. It's only a very small hole, and I think the fact that this isn't going to hold anything or hold any pressure or anything like that, the easiest thing to do for that, well, we could either weld it, get a bit of metal up there and weld it fixed, weld the hole over, or just get a bit of the metal putty that goes hard over time, and then we can paint over the top of it. I think that would be the easiest option for that. The second bit are the two sort of the bits you stand on to operate the equipment on top. Now they've actually, the metal brackets underneath them have actually corroded and caused it to the plate on top to jack up. So what I think the best thing for both of them, as one's a lot worse than the other, is to actually just completely keep the brackets on top of the tank as they are, although take off the bits you stand on and just replace them with completely brand new bits. I think it's only 3 or 4 mil thick metal. I can't remember what the term is, but it's that stuff that's all got rigid edges on it that you stand on to get extra grip. And I think the easier than trying to sandblast them back or needle gun them back, try and get all the rust out, I think the easiest thing to do is to take them off. It means I can then access the bit of tank underneath it that I currently aren't able to reach with the needle gun, and then I can put two brand new plates on top of there, new bolts, all that kind of stuff, and I think that would just be an easier option, and it will help me finish the rest of the top of the tank there as well. So yeah, I think that would be the best option going forwards. So what I'm going to do now is get back on with the wire wheeling, and then we'll start getting some undercoat on. So that took a lot longer than I'd planned. As you can see, we've managed to get somewhat all of the top side on this side, and I even did a little bit around the edge there as well on the corner, just for when I come to putting the top coat on, I've got something to overlap onto when I do the ends. But I hope you agree that I think the finish on it now is really, really nice. I think it's given us a good surface now to hopefully get some of the top coat on today. It has picked up, the wind has picked up a little bit, and it's been blowing the paint trays all over the place, so hopefully I can get some top coat done without too much interference from the wind. But yeah, hopefully it's quite hard to tell what it looks like from down here, but I'll take a step back in a minute and take an overall look at it. But I'm really quite pleased with how it's coming along. So I think what we do now is hopefully try and get some top coat on. I was talking earlier about starting on the bottom half. I'd really like to actually start at this end, just because it means that I can get one of the white stars on sooner, and I quite like putting things on rather than taking things off. So if I can get that bit done and then get a white star on there, I think that'll look quite nice and give us another idea as to how it's going to look once it's all complete. You'll see in the top up here as well, I have started removing some of the wood, or some of what was left of the very rotten wood, and it's just exposed some of the metal there, so I'm just going to let that dry out before I work out how I'm going to tackle that. I then got to decide with this horizontal beam across here, this rod here, whether I work around it or completely take it out. It does look like the bolts, the nuts at each end are quite badly rusted on, so it depends as to whether I can get them off. Will make my decision as to whether I take that bar off or I just work around it. But yeah, let's see how much more we can get on with during today. The time is now 1:20, so hopefully that gives us a little bit of time to get some top coat on. So guys, there we have it. That is the end of this episode. Now this video is a combination of 3 days in total, which gives me an idea of how much time it's taken just to do that section there. Although now I've got the hang of things, hopefully I'll be able to speed all the way through the other bits. But as you can see, we managed to get a bit more painted with the first layer of top coat. I've got the first panel, the first section, if you like, second coat of top coat as well. But just as I was getting further along here, it looked like it started to rain, so I packed all my stuff up. Then the sun came out, as it does, although it does shine rather nicely on top of this tank, so I'm actually super pleased with the progress so far. And yeah, it's really starting to transform compared to what it was like at the very start. And this is only, as I say, with 3 days worth of work, so yeah, overall quite good progress. Unfortunately, I didn't get any time to start on the bottom section, although, as I mentioned earlier, I'm probably going to start on the right and go right to left. I did then go around making notes of all the things that are written on here and the measurements of the various letters and the fonts and things, so I can go and get stencils and paint and all that kind of stuff to make sure I can recreate them once I've needle gunned them off and I know where they go back on. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. It's a bit of a combination of 3 days, but hopefully it's mashed up okay into one video. The feedback on the last video was really, really good. So if you do enjoy, please do leave a comment, as that has really helped the last video push out to a wider audience. So yeah, if you did enjoy, please do leave some feedback in the comment section, whether it's constructive criticism or just the fact you enjoyed the video. It is all very much appreciated. As always guys, please do hit the thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, please do subscribe. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Cheers.